Imagine a place so vast, so ancient, that its very silence seems to hum with forgotten stories. A landscape carved by millennia, where the scale of human existence feels utterly insignificant, a mere whisper against the roar of geologic time. Now, picture within that immensity something profoundly human, something tragically ordinary, yet destined to become an enduring enigma. It was 1991. A year that for many evokes memories of flannel shirts, grunge music just beginning its ascent, and a burgeoning digital age on the horizon. For 20 American high schoolers, it was the year of a much-anticipated field trip, a journey to the Grand Canyon, a rite of passage for many young Americans. Laughter, excitement, and the usual teenage banter filled the air of a bright yellow school bus as it wound its way through the scenic routes, heading towards those breathtaking vistas. Then, in an instant, that laughter, that bus, those 20 young lives simply vanished. Not a trace, not a whisper, just an echoing void in the vast, indifferent expanse of the Grand Canyon. For 32 agonizing years, the desert held its breath. The Grand Canyon, a natural wonder revered for its beauty, became for countless families a sprawling, silent tomb, a monument to an unsolvable mystery. Parents aged, siblings grew up, friends moved on, but the question remained, a festering wound in the collective American consciousness. What happened to that bus? The initial, frantic search efforts yielded nothing but frustration and the chilling realization of the canyon's formidable power to consume and conceal. It was a national tragedy that transitioned from front-page news to a haunting urban legend, whispered around campfires and debated in online forums, always ending with the same desolate conclusion: lost forever. The families, trapped in a cruel limbo, could neither mourn a confirmed loss nor cling to a tangible hope. The stunning vistas, once symbols of natural majesty, transformed into a stark reminder of their loved ones' inexplicable disappearance, a constant, mocking presence. Then just recently, the impossible happened. A remote geological survey, meticulously mapping a seldom visited section of the canyon floor, stumbled upon an anomaly. A glint of sun-faded, unmistakably yellow metal, partially obscured by layers of sediment and the accumulated detritus of decades, caught a surveyor's eye. What followed was a painstaking excavation, a slow, deliberate peeling back of time, revealing the skeletal remains of that very bus. Dust-choked seats, their vibrant yellow faded to a pale, ghostly hue, emerged from the earth. Crumpled, water-stained textbooks lay scattered, their pages still hinting at forgotten lessons. A backpack, its contents long since degraded, offered a poignant reminder of youthful dreams abruptly halted. The discovery was not closure, but a chilling new chapter, a brutal reopening of old wounds, reigniting a desperate, horrifying search for answers that had been presumed buried forever. The Grand Canyon's secrets, it seems, are finally yielding, but the truth they offer is far more complex and terrifying than anyone could have imagined. This isn't merely a story of a lost vehicle, it is a profound exploration of human resilience in the face of the unknown. The relentless grip of hope and the terrifying indifference of nature's grand design. It forces us to confront the fragility of our existence, how quickly order can descend into chaos, and how even in an age of advanced technology, some mysteries stubbornly defy resolution. The Grand Canyon, a geological masterpiece, suddenly became an active crime scene, a historical record keeper and a silent witness to an unimaginable tragedy. The very same processes that sculpted its breathtaking cliffs and valleys, erosion, deposition, the passage of millennia, were also the silent accomplices in concealing a modern-day ghost. The discovery of the bus after so long raises more questions than it answers. What forces were at play that day in 1991? Was it a catastrophic accident, a deliberate act, or something far more inexplicable, swallowed whole by the canyon's ancient maw? The decades of silence have only deepened the enigma, allowing theories to proliferate and the human imagination to fill the void with speculation and sorrow. The initial shock of the rediscovery quickly gave way to a renewed, agonizing focus on the details. Each unearthed artifact, each recovered fragment became a potential clue, a piece of a puzzle that had been incomplete for too long. The very act of finding the bus after so many years of futility underscores the profound challenge of searching such a vast and complex environment. It highlights the sheer geological luck involved in its eventual exposure, a testament to the canyon's dynamic nature, constantly shifting, revealing, and reburying its secrets. The emotional landscape for the families involved is now a treacherous one, navigating the terrain between the faint hope of finding remains and the horrifying certainty of what the bus's presence implies. The questions that once revolved around "where are they?" have now shifted to what happened in those final moments, and what does this discovery truly mean for the legacy of those lost? It's a stark reminder that sometimes the answers we seek can be more devastating than the questions themselves. The Grand Canyon, in its immutable grandeur, has always held a mirror to our human aspirations and our vulnerabilities. It reminds us of our fleeting presence, our smallness in the face of geological time. But in this particular narrative, it has taken on a new, chilling role, that of a keeper of secrets, a silent witness to a decades-old tragedy. The re-emergence of the bus from its sedimentary tomb is not just a geological event, it is a profound psychological and emotional one, forcing a nation to revisit a wound that had never truly healed. It compels us to ponder the very nature of disappearance, the enduring power of unresolved grief, and the relentless human drive to understand, even when the understanding promises only pain. As we delve into the layers of this mystery, we embark on a journey not just into the depths of the Grand Canyon, but into the depths of human memory, loss, and the unyielding quest for truth, no matter how long it takes, or how harrowing the revelations might be. The silence of 32 years has been broken, and the echoes of those high schoolers' laughter, once thought lost forever, now resonate with a chilling new clarity, demanding to be heard. The Grand Canyon, in its staggering immensity, has always been a paradox, a beacon for human wonder, yet an indifferent, often merciless force of nature. Its very formation, a testament to relentless erosion and the slow, inexorable march of geological time, also speaks to its capacity for concealment. Long before this particular event, the canyon's labyrinthine depths and treacherous terrain had earned it a somber reputation as a silent devourer of secrets. Historical accounts are replete with tales of prospectors, early explorers, and even experienced hikers who ventured into its vastness, never to return. This inherent danger, woven into the very fabric of the landscape, provides a crucial backdrop for understanding how an object as large as a school bus could vanish so completely for so long. The sheer scale of the chasm, exceeding 277 miles in length, up to 18 miles in width, and over a mile deep, means that countless isolated nooks and crannies exist, perfectly suited to harbor debris, large or small, far from prying eyes or conventional search patterns. Delving deeper into the historical context, one must consider the era in which this disappearance occurred. The early 1990s, while not ancient history, represented a significantly different landscape for search and rescue operations than today. GPS technology, while nascent, was not widely available or precise enough for civilian use in such rugged environments. Satellite imagery, if it existed at all for real-time applications, lacked the resolution and accessibility we now take for granted. Search efforts relied heavily on aerial reconnaissance by fixed-wing aircraft and helicopters, coupled with arduous ground expeditions. The effectiveness of these methods in an environment like the Grand Canyon is inherently limited. A vehicle especially one that might have been partially or fully buried by rockfall or flash flood debris, could easily be overlooked from above. Furthermore, the immense visual clutter of the canyon, its myriad shadows, rock formations, and natural detritus, acts as a powerful camouflage, rendering even large objects virtually invisible. Crucially, the Grand Canyon's unique hydrological characteristics play an outsized role in its capacity to conceal. Monsoonal rains, common during certain seasons, can transform dry washes into raging torrents in mere minutes. These flash floods, carrying immense volumes of water, sediment, and rocks, possess astonishing destructive power. They can sweep away vehicles, dislodge massive boulders, and rapidly deposit layers of silt and sand, effectively burying anything in their path. Imagine the force required to carve such a monumental landscape. That same force, in concentrated bursts, can reshape smaller sections with surprising speed. A bus, if caught in such an event, could have been dragged considerable distances, crushed or submerged beneath tons of newly deposited material, becoming an indistinguishable part of the canyon floor. This natural process of burial and erosion is a continuous cycle, continually altering the landscape and perpetually obscuring evidence. Beyond the immediate tragedy, the incident, much like other high-profile disappearances in remote wilderness areas, resonated deeply with the public imagination. Such events tap into primal fears of the unknown, of being utterly lost and vulnerable to forces beyond human control. It highlighted the inherent risks of venturing into truly wild spaces, even those as seemingly benign as a national park known for its breathtaking beauty. For an American public accustomed to a certain level of safety and predictability in their daily lives, the notion of an entire group of young people vanishing without a trace in such an iconic location became a stark reminder of nature's untamed power. This collective unease transformed the specifics of the event into a broader cultural narrative about the limits of human dominion over the natural world. It's important to consider that national parks, while designed for public enjoyment, are fundamentally wild ecosystems. Park rangers and safety protocols are in place, but they cannot entirely mitigate the inherent dangers presented by the environment itself. In the period leading up to this incident, the emphasis was often on appreciating the grandeur, perhaps with less pervasive public awareness of the raw, untamed aspects that could pose such profound risks. This particular disappearance, therefore, served as a grim catalyst, prompting a re-evaluation of safety measures, public education, and the sheer logistical challenges of managing visitor safety across such an immense and unforgiving landscape. The very origins of the mystery are thus intertwined with the canyon's ancient geology, the technological limitations of an earlier era, and the evolving understanding of human vulnerability within the wild heart of America. The discovery of the bus, after decades submerged in the canyon's geological embrace, was no mere accident. It was the culmination of advanced scientific techniques applied to an unforgiving landscape. The initial detection, a glint of sun-faded metal, as described, likely stemmed from sophisticated remote sensing. Modern geological surveys frequently employ light detection and ranging, or LiDAR technology, which uses pulsed laser light to measure distances and create highly detailed three-dimensional maps of terrain. Anomalies in these precise topographical models, especially in areas previously mapped with less resolution, can indicate buried or obscured objects. Similarly, ground-penetrating radar, GPR, might have been deployed once a suspicious area was identified, capable of sending electromagnetic waves into the ground and detecting variations in subsurface materials, effectively creating a cross-sectional view beneath the sediment. Such instruments can distinguish between natural rock and man-made metallic structures, even after extensive burial. Once the object's presence was confirmed, the painstaking work of forensic archaeology began, a discipline distinct from traditional archaeology due to its focus on recent human events and often tragic outcomes. The Grand Canyon's arid environment presents a unique set of challenges and, paradoxically, some benefits for preservation. While organic materials like fabric, paper, and human remains would degrade significantly over 32 years, the extreme dryness can lead to a form of mummification, slowing decomposition compared to humid environments. Conversely, the constant wind erosion, fluctuating temperatures, and abrasive sand act as relentless agents of destruction, grinding down surfaces and scattering lighter debris. The sedimentary layers above and around the bus are now critical forensic evidence, offering a chronological record of the canyon's activity since 1991. Geologists and forensic experts will meticulously analyze these strata, looking for evidence of rockfalls, flash flood deposits, or any other geological events that could explain the bus's trajectory and eventual burial, effectively reading the Earth as a historical document. Further investigation would involve comprehensive material analysis. The bus itself, a complex assembly of steel, aluminum, glass, plastic, and various composites, offers a wealth of data. Metallurgical examination of the frame could reveal stress fractures indicative of impact forces, providing clues about the angle and severity of any collision. The degradation patterns of different materials, how plastics have embrittled, how steel has corroded, or how glass has fractured, can inform experts about the environmental conditions the wreckage endured and the timeline of its decomposition. Imagine the silent testimony of a shattered windshield, its pattern of cracks whispering tales of kinetic energy. The discovery of specific personal effects, such as a school textbook or a backpack, though severely degraded, also prompts meticulous recovery and analysis. Even fragments of fabric or remnants of paper, when carefully conserved and analyzed, can yield insights into the lives of those aboard, potentially offering DNA evidence or other identifiers if sufficiently preserved. The recovery of human remains in such an environment, after decades, presents profound challenges for forensic anthropologists. Bone, while durable, can become brittle and fragmented from impact and subsequent weathering. The dry heat, while possibly preserving some soft tissue, could also desiccate remains, making identification difficult. Specialized techniques, including mitochondrial DNA analysis from bone fragments or teeth, would be paramount for establishing identity, a process far more complex than typical forensic cases. The very location of the remains within the bus, their state of preservation, and any associated injuries could offer critical clues about the sequence of events during the bus's final moments. Did passengers remain seated? Were they thrown from the vehicle? The arrangement of skeletal remains, even fragmented within the wreckage, becomes a silent tableau of the disaster's immediate aftermath, providing chilling insights into the final seconds of those on board. Understanding the forces at play requires a deep dive into accident reconstruction, augmented by geological context. Engineers will likely model the bus's potential descent path, considering factors like the angle of the slope, the type of terrain, and the likely speed at impact. This involves applying principles of physics and kinematics to a scenario where the road itself becomes a dynamic, unforgiving element. The structural deformation of the bus, its crumple zones, and the way its various components detached or fractured will be compared against simulations of different impact scenarios. Now consider how this applies when you face a seemingly insurmountable puzzle. Every twisted piece of metal, every displaced bolt, every abrasion on the chassis becomes a data point in a complex equation. The goal is not just to find what happened, but to reconstruct how it happened, piece by agonizing piece, allowing the physical evidence to speak volumes about a tragedy long silenced. This meticulous process, blending geology, forensics, and engineering, is the only path to unraveling the Grand Canyon's most chilling secret. The re-emergence of this long-lost bus from its earthen concealment carries profound societal reverberations, extending far beyond the immediate circle of affected families. It serves as a potent reminder of the enduring power of collective memory, demonstrating that even tragedies that fade from daily headlines can retain a tenacious grip on the national consciousness. Such a discovery challenges the very notion of a cold case, in the conventional sense, injecting a startling new vitality into a narrative believed to be permanently entombed. Furthermore, it subtly reshapes public perception concerning the limits of human knowledge and the possibility of answers emerging from the most unlikely and long-forgotten corners of our world. The narrative becomes a stark testament to the idea that time, while often a healer, can also be a meticulous preserver of secrets, only to unveil them at its own unpredictable cadence. This harrowing revelation also profoundly impacts the psychology of grief, particularly for those who grapple with ambiguous loss. For decades, the absence of physical evidence meant that families were suspended in an agonizing state of uncertainty, unable to fully mourn or achieve the finality that comes with a confirmed death. The sudden materialization of the wreckage, while offering a tangible endpoint to a physical search, inaugurates a new, intensely painful phase of emotional processing. The grief, once abstract and formless, now attaches itself to concrete, horrifying images. Consequently, communities that had collectively absorbed the initial shock must now re-engage with the trauma, grappling with the shift from an unimaginable "what if" to a devastating "what was." This transition underscores the complex, non-linear nature of human resilience and the deep-seated need for truth, even when that truth is steeped in sorrow. From a scientific standpoint, the recovery of such an aged, large-scale disaster site within a dynamic natural environment presents unprecedented challenges and opportunities. It compels experts to innovate new protocols for evidence collection and preservation in conditions where materials have undergone extreme degradation over an extended period. Consider the intricate task of distinguishing between damage caused by the initial incident and subsequent environmental forces, a distinction critical for accurate reconstruction. Moreover, this unique scenario pushes the boundaries of understanding long-term human remains preservation in arid, high-impact settings, potentially informing future disaster response and forensic methodologies globally. The site effectively becomes a natural laboratory, offering insights into the complex interplay between human artifacts and geological processes over decades, a truly invaluable, albeit tragic, dataset for various scientific disciplines. Culturally, this event is poised to weave itself into the fabric of contemporary folklore, solidifying its place as a modern cautionary tale. It will undoubtedly influence artistic expressions, from documentaries and true crime narratives to perhaps even fictionalized accounts, exploring themes of disappearance, the indifference of nature, and the human quest for closure. The image of the yellow school bus, once a symbol of youthful innocence and educational journeys, transforms into a stark emblem of vulnerability against the raw power of the wilderness. This transformation subtly shapes how society perceives natural wonders like expansive national parks, highlighting their untamed character alongside their beauty. It underscores a fundamental truth that even in an era of advanced technology and pervasive human presence, there remain places where nature exerts absolute dominion, capable of consuming our most carefully constructed realities. Furthermore, the reopened case inevitably sparks crucial dialogues concerning public safety, resource allocation for long-dormant investigations, and the ethical responsibilities associated with revisiting profound historical traumas. National park authorities might face renewed scrutiny regarding communication protocols, visitor safety measures, and the capabilities for rapid response in remote areas. On a broader scale, the sheer cost and meticulous effort involved in such a decades-later recovery effort could prompt re-evaluations of how society prioritizes and funds cold case investigations, particularly those involving mass casualties. Ultimately, this chilling discovery compels us to reflect on our collective duty to remember, to seek understanding, and to support those whose lives remain forever altered by the unpredictable and often brutal caprices of the natural world, even when the answers arrive generations too late. The decades of silence surrounding the vanished school bus inevitably gave rise to a proliferation of myths and misconceptions, fueled by the sheer incomprehensibility of such a large object disappearing without a trace. One pervasive but erroneous belief was that every inch of a national park, especially one as iconic as the Grand Canyon, is constantly monitored or easily accessible for comprehensive searches. The truth, however, is far more complex. Vast swathes of the canyon remain largely untrodden, its remote inner gorges and side canyons presenting formidable logistical barriers to human exploration. Even with modern aerial surveillance, the intricate topography, deep shadows, and dense vegetation in certain areas can render large objects virtually invisible from above, creating natural blind spots that defy even the most diligent search efforts. This reality often clashes with the public's idealized image of meticulously managed wilderness areas, leading to a profound misunderstanding of the true scale of the challenge. Furthermore, the extraordinary nature of the disappearance, coupled with the lack of immediate answers, often breeds conspiracy theories. Some speculated about deliberate cover-ups by authorities, perhaps to conceal a more sinister incident or to avoid negative publicity for the national park. Others ventured into the realm of the supernatural, attributing the vanishing to unexplained phenomena or ancient curses believed to reside within the canyon's depths. Such narratives, while compelling, often overlook the fundamental scientific and logistical realities at play. The Grand Canyon's geological processes, its susceptibility to massive rockfalls, its flash flood potential, and the continuous deposition of sediment offer far more plausible, albeit equally tragic, explanations for the bus's prolonged concealment than any fabricated conspiracy or paranormal intervention. The sheer volume of natural forces at work provides a robust explanation for the mystery, effectively challenging the need for more sensational yet unfounded theories. A significant challenge now confronting investigators, even with the bus located, involves disentangling the layers of damage inflicted by the initial event from the subsequent ravages of time and environment. Consider the task of distinguishing between structural deformation caused by an impact and the gradual weakening and corrosion from decades of exposure to elements, or the crushing weight of overlaying sediment. This requires an almost archaeological precision, where every rust pattern, every fractured piece of metal, and every displaced component must be meticulously analyzed for its origin and timeline. The very act of recovering the wreckage, after it has become an integrated part of the canyon floor, also introduces potential for further degradation or alteration of crucial evidence, demanding extreme caution and specialized techniques to preserve the integrity of the scene. Moreover, the identification of human remains after 32 years presents an ethical and scientific tightrope walk. While the arid conditions might offer some degree of preservation, the remains are invariably fragile, fragmented, and often commingled with the bus's debris and surrounding soil. The challenge lies not only in meticulously recovering these delicate fragments, but also in the arduous process of correlating them with specific individuals. DNA analysis, while powerful, faces hurdles with highly degraded samples, requiring advanced techniques and often multiple attempts. This process is not merely a scientific endeavor, it carries immense emotional weight, as each fragment represents a life, a family's hope for closure, and a confirmation of their worst fears. Another misconception that often arises pertains to the infallibility of modern technology in solving all mysteries. While today's tools are vastly superior to those of 1991, The discovery of the bus after so long is less a testament to technological omnipotence and more a stark reminder of the canyon's enduring capacity for concealment. It was a confluence of geological activity revealing the site and advanced, patient surveying techniques that finally brought the bus to light, not some magical, instantaneous solution. This highlights the ongoing battle between human ingenuity and the overwhelming scale and power of the natural world, reinforcing that even with our most sophisticated instruments, some secrets remain hidden until nature itself decides to yield them. The Grand Canyon, in this context, serves as a humbling instructor, continually reminding us of the limits of our reach and the profound mysteries that still lie beneath its ancient, silent gaze. The re-emergence of the bus, while a monumental breakthrough, instantly ushers in a new, intensely complex set of challenges, particularly in the realm of forensic interpretation. Imagine the scene: a school bus, once a vibrant symbol of daily life, now a skeletal husk, having endured 3 decades of the canyon's relentless geological ballet. The primary hurdle lies in accurately discerning which structural deformations and material degradations stem from the initial catastrophic event versus those inflicted by years of rockfalls, erosion, and the sheer weight of overlying sediment. For instance, a twisted chassis might be attributed to the impact force, yet decades of shifting earth could have exerted similar, albeit slower, pressures. This intricate task demands an almost archaeological patience, meticulously mapping every fracture, every bend, and every instance of corrosion to construct a timeline of damage, separating the immediate trauma from the protracted decay. It's akin to piecing together a shattered vase after it has also been weathered by a relentless storm, where the original break is obscured by subsequent damage. Beyond the physical evidence, a formidable legal and jurisdictional quagmire inevitably arises when a decades-old tragedy suddenly re-enters the public consciousness. Who holds the primary investigative authority after such a prolonged period? The original incident occurred in 1991, potentially falling under the purview of state or federal agencies that have since undergone significant restructuring, or whose key personnel have retired. Furthermore, the Grand Canyon is federal land, complicating the interplay between local, state, and national legal frameworks. This bureaucratic maze can significantly impede the swift and seamless allocation of resources, expertise, and legal mandates necessary for a thorough and unimpeded investigation. Establishing liability, if any, for a long-past event, particularly when so many variables are at play, from potential mechanical failures to driver error or even unpredictable natural phenomena, becomes an extraordinarily thorny legal undertaking, further delaying any semblance of resolution. Another profound controversy that often accompanies such discoveries is the delicate balance between the public's insatiable hunger for answers and the intensely private, often excruciating grief of the victims' families. The media, in its role as a purveyor of information, inevitably descends upon such a compelling narrative, yet its fervent pursuit of details can inadvertently sensationalize the tragedy, transforming deeply personal suffering into a spectacle. This raises significant ethical questions regarding the right to privacy for those directly affected, particularly when their loved one's final resting place has been publicly exposed after so long. Navigating this treacherous terrain demands a heightened sensitivity from all involved, striving for transparency in the investigation while fiercely protecting the dignity and emotional well-being of the families, who are now forced to relive their nightmare in the harsh glare of public scrutiny. Moreover, while modern technology has been instrumental in the bus's rediscovery, it faces its own set of intrinsic limitations when confronted with the extreme degradation of evidence. Consider the challenge of recovering and analyzing severely compromised organic materials. While DNA technology has advanced exponentially, Samples exposed to decades of environmental stressors, extreme temperatures, moisture fluctuations, and the abrasive action of sediment can be so degraded that even the most sophisticated techniques yield inconclusive results. The sheer volume of material to process, from tiny bone fragments to microscopic traces of clothing, demands immense resources and time, pushing the boundaries of what forensic science can definitively achieve. We might locate the bus and even some remains, but the complete, unambiguous identification of every individual or the recovery of every personal artifact remains an almost insurmountable task. A stark reminder that even the most advanced tools have their breaking point against the relentless march of time and decay. Finally, the ultimate why of the incident often remains elusive, even when the how begins to take shape. Was there a sudden, catastrophic mechanical failure that plunged the bus over an edge? Did a momentary lapse in judgment by the driver lead to an irreversible mistake? Or was it an unpredictable, localized natural event, such as a sudden landslide or a localized seismic tremor, that initiated the tragedy? Decades of environmental alteration mean that any immediate evidence of these initiating factors, such as tire marks on a road surface or specific debris patterns, would have long since vanished or been severely obscured. This persistent ambiguity regarding the proximate cause of the disaster can be one of the most agonizing challenges for families who, even with the bus found, may never receive a definitive explanation for the precise sequence of events that stole their loved ones away. The re-emergence of a long-lost secret from the Earth's embrace after decades of silent vigil fundamentally alters the landscape of human understanding and emotion. It is a profound moment, not merely of discovery, but of confronting the enduring human need for resolution, however painful that truth might be. For those who carried the weight of an unanswerable question, this revelation shifts the very ground beneath their feet, transforming a lingering, ambiguous grief into a new, albeit harsh, certainty. This transition underscores a universal truth, that the human spirit, while capable of immense resilience in the face of the unknown, ultimately yearns for clarity, for the definitive contours of what was, rather than the boundless expanse of what might have been. The act of uncovering, therefore, becomes a harrowing form of liberation, a reluctant acceptance of a reality long denied by its very elusiveness. Consider for a moment the profound indifference of the natural world to our human dramas. The Grand Canyon, a monument to geological time, acts as both a silent witness and an active participant in this narrative. It is a landscape that, through its relentless processes of erosion and deposition, first concealed and then by a twist of fate and the slow grind of millennia, chose to reveal. This dynamic interplay between human tragedy and geological forces offers a humbling perspective on our place in the universe. It reminds us that while we strive for control and understanding, there remain vast, powerful elements that operate on scales far beyond our immediate comprehension or influence. The canyon, in its stoic grandeur, teaches us that time does not simply heal. It also preserves, buries, and eventually, with an almost poetic serendipity, unveils. Such a discovery also rekindles the potent flame of collective memory, proving that some stories, even when relegated to the fringes of public consciousness, never truly fade. The unresolved questions act as invisible threads, binding communities to a past event, ensuring that the lost are never entirely forgotten. This inherent human drive to understand, to piece together fragmented narratives, speaks to our fundamental need for meaning and continuity. It's a testament to the power of curiosity, a persistent, quiet force that compels us to keep searching, whether through physical excavation or through the intellectual exploration of lingering enigmas. Every fragment unearthed, every piece of the puzzle recovered, reaffirms the value of persistent inquiry, demonstrating that sometimes the most profound answers are simply waiting for the right moment and the right eyes to be found. Furthermore, these unearthed tragedies serve as poignant reminders of life's inherent fragility and the unpredictable currents of existence. They compel us to reflect on the delicate balance between our carefully constructed routines and the sudden, often brutal caprices of the natural world. This experience, though rooted in a specific incident, resonates with a broader understanding of human vulnerability, urging us to cherish the present and acknowledge the transient nature of our plans. It underscores the profound respect due to environments of such immense power and scale, fostering a deeper appreciation for the wild places that, even as they inspire awe, can also demand a sobering recognition of their untamed authority. These are not merely tales of loss, but powerful lessons in humility and the enduring strength required to navigate a world both beautiful and perilous. The journey towards understanding, even after such a significant breakthrough, rarely finds a definitive endpoint. Instead, it often transforms into a continuous process of learning, where each new piece of information reshapes our perception of the past. The discovery of the bus isn't merely a conclusion, it's a new beginning for inquiry, sparking fresh questions about safety, environmental dynamics, and the ethical responsibilities associated with revisiting profound historical traumas. It challenges us to refine our methodologies, to push the boundaries of forensic science, and to continually re-evaluate our relationship with the natural world and the mysteries it holds. This ongoing dialogue between humanity and its environment is crucial, shaping not only how we respond to future challenges, but also how we honor the legacies of those lost, ensuring their stories continue to inform and inspire. Ultimately, this chilling revelation leaves us with a lingering contemplation. Even when the physical evidence is brought to light, the profound why of existence of such sudden and absolute loss often remains elusive. Yet, in the face of such enduring questions, the human spirit demonstrates an extraordinary capacity for remembrance, for empathy, and for an unwavering commitment to truth. The Grand Canyon, having held its breath for so long, now exhales a story that is both heartbreakingly specific and universally resonant, reminding us that some mysteries are not meant to be fully solved, but rather to be deeply felt, prompting a continuous reflection on our place within the vast, awe-inspiring, and sometimes terrifying tapestry of life. The unexpected re-emergence of the Grand Canyon bus fundamentally reshapes the paradigms of disaster preparedness and long-term recovery efforts, particularly for incidents occurring in vast, unforgiving wildernesses. This event compels National Park Services, search and rescue organizations, and even governmental agencies to re-evaluate their protocols for managing lost scenarios that extend far beyond initial search windows. It underscores the critical need for enhanced, persistent data archiving and the development of methodologies that anticipate the potential for discovery decades into the future, moving beyond the immediate crisis response to a more sustained, archival approach. Now consider how this profound shift encourages investment in advanced wide-area remote sensing technologies, not just for immediate emergencies, but as ongoing environmental monitoring tools that might serendipitously uncover long-dormant secrets. Furthermore, this chilling discovery inevitably impacts the public's perception of risk associated with experiencing natural wonders. The Grand Canyon, a universally celebrated symbol of natural beauty and adventure, is now imbued with a more somber layer of narrative, reminding visitors of the inherent, untamed power of such landscapes. This necessitates a more nuanced approach to public education and safety messaging by park authorities, moving beyond standard warnings to acknowledge the deep-seated, unpredictable forces at play. It's a delicate balance, inspiring awe while simultaneously fostering a profound respect for nature's capacity to both create and consume, subtly influencing visitor behavior and potentially encouraging a greater sense of personal responsibility when venturing into truly wild domains. Building on this, the reopened mystery reignites a crucial societal dialogue about accountability and justice, even across the chasm of decades. When new evidence surfaces for an incident long considered closed, it forces a re-examination of potential negligence, unforeseen factors, or even culpability that could not be adequately assessed at the time. This presents an intricate legal and ethical puzzle. How does a modern legal system apply contemporary standards of investigation and justice to an event that unfolded under vastly different technological and regulatory frameworks? It's akin to untangling a very old complex knot where each strand represents a decision, an action, or an environmental factor, all blurred by the relentless passage of time and the erosion of memory. Another crucial layer is the evolving role of technology in redefining what is considered permanently lost. While previous parts discussed the methods of discovery, this broader implication focuses on the philosophical shift that such capabilities bring. The bus was found not through a targeted missing persons search in 2023, but as an incidental finding during a geological survey. This highlights how continuous, non-specific data collection across vast landscapes, driven by various scientific endeavors, can inadvertently serve as a perpetual, passive search engine for cold cases. It suggests that in an increasingly mapped and monitored world, the concept of an object or person being truly, irrevocably lost to time is becoming increasingly challenged, even if the discovery is entirely serendipitous. Consequently, the narrative surrounding the Grand Canyon bus will undoubtedly become a powerful case study in the broader field of memorialization and commemoration. For decades, the absence of a physical site meant that remembrance was largely abstract, confined to personal memories and perhaps a plaque listing names. Now, with a tangible location, the challenge emerges of how to respectfully acknowledge the tragedy within a natural wonder without detracting from its inherent majesty, or conversely, how to integrate the site into a broader educational narrative. It transforms from an invisible wound into a visible scar, prompting discussions on creating appropriate, enduring tributes that honor the lost while respecting the sacredness of the natural environment that became their final resting place. Ultimately, this profound discovery compels us to ponder the very nature of human persistence and the unyielding drive for answers. It is a testament to the idea that some stories refuse to be silenced, echoing through time until the conditions are finally right for their revelation. The Grand Canyon's secrets, now yielding, offer not just facts, but a chilling narrative that will resonate far beyond the immediate families, shaping our understanding of resilience, loss, and the enduring, often surprising ways in which the past can reassert its claim on the present. The rediscovery of the bus, while a profound step towards understanding, immediately plunges investigators into a labyrinth of formidable forensic challenges, particularly concerning the identification of human remains after such an extended period. Beyond the general difficulty of DNA analysis from degraded samples, the sheer act of distinguishing individual identities within a severely compromised, commingled mass of bone fragments and personal effects presents a unique and harrowing puzzle. Imagine trying to differentiate between 20 distinct narratives, each represented by minuscule, chemically altered biological traces, all compressed and scattered within the confines of a corroded metal shell. The Grand Canyon's unique geochemistry, with its mineral-rich soils and fluctuating aridity, can paradoxically both preserve and degrade organic matter in ways that defy conventional forensic expectations, making DNA extraction and profiling an exceptionally painstaking, often frustrating endeavor. Furthermore, the psychological toll on the forensic anthropologists and geneticists meticulously sifting through these deeply personal relics, knowing each fragment represents a life tragically cut short, adds an immeasurable weight to their already complex scientific task. Moreover, the passage of 32 years has blurred the lines of potential causation, leading to lingering debates about the precise initiating event that precipitated the bus's catastrophic plunge. Was it a sudden mechanical failure, a ghost in the machine, for which no verifiable maintenance records from 1991 could now offer definitive proof? Or did human error play a role, a momentary lapse in judgment by the driver, the details of which are now lost to the fading memories of any distant witnesses, or forever buried with the bus itself? Conversely, the canyon itself, a dynamic and unpredictable entity, might have delivered the fatal blow. Consider the possibility of an unrecorded, localized seismic tremor, or a spontaneous, isolated rockslide not triggered by rain, occurring at the precise, unfortunate moment the bus passed. Distinguishing between these possibilities, where direct evidence has been obliterated by time and the elements, transforms the investigation from a straightforward inquiry into a complex exercise in probabilistic reconstruction, leaving ample room for enduring speculation and disagreement among experts. This inherent ambiguity surrounding the cause inevitably clashes with the public's desire for a clear, definitive narrative. While the discovery brings a tangible what, the how and why remains stubbornly opaque, fostering a tension between scientific reality and public expectation. The meticulous, often slow process of forensic analysis, which yields fragmented truths rather than a complete polished story, can be deeply unsatisfying for a public yearning for immediate, unequivocal answers. Consequently, the interpretation of findings becomes a battleground for various perspectives, where every released detail is scrutinized, debated, and often reinterpreted through the lens of personal biases or preconceived notions, further complicating the path to collective understanding. Building on this, the ethical dilemmas surrounding the disclosure of potentially graphic details are profound and multifaceted. How much visual or descriptive information about the wreckage and any recovered remains should be released to satisfy the public's legitimate curiosity versus the paramount need to protect the privacy and dignity of the victims' families? This is a tightrope walk for authorities, balancing transparency with compassion. The very act of unearthing such a site, after it has been undisturbed for decades, inadvertently re-traumatizes those who have lived with the initial loss, forcing them to confront the grim realities that were once mercifully abstract. The media's role in this, while crucial for informing the public, must also contend with the sensitive balance of reporting facts without devolving into sensationalism, ensuring that the human tragedy remains at the forefront rather than being overshadowed by morbid curiosity. Ultimately, a significant misconception that often accompanies such discoveries is the notion that finding the lost automatically equates to finding closure. For the families, while the location of the bus ends one agonizing chapter of uncertainty, it often initiates another, perhaps even more painful, phase of grief. The abstract void is replaced by concrete, horrifying images, forcing a confrontation with the brutal reality of their loved ones' final moments. This new clarity, while sought after, can reopen wounds that had scabbed over, prompting new waves of sorrow and questions that may never be fully answered. The Grand Canyon's secrets, now yielding, offer not a definitive end, but rather a chilling new beginning for a journey of remembrance and reconciliation, one that will undoubtedly continue for years to come. The re-emergence of a long-lost secret from the Earth's embrace, after decades of silent vigil, fundamentally alters the landscape of human understanding and emotion. It is a profound moment, not merely of discovery, but of confronting the enduring human need for resolution, however painful that truth might be. For those who carried the weight of an unanswerable question, this revelation shifts the very ground beneath their feet, transforming a lingering, ambiguous grief into a new, albeit harsh, certainty. This transition underscores a universal truth, that the human spirit, while capable of immense resilience in the face of the unknown, ultimately yearns for clarity, for the definitive contours of what was, rather than the boundless expanse of what might have been. The act of uncovering, therefore, becomes a harrowing form of liberation, a reluctant acceptance of a reality long denied by its very elusiveness. Consider for a moment the profound indifference of the natural world to our human dramas. The Grand Canyon, a monument to geological time, acts as both a silent witness and an active participant in this narrative. It is a landscape that, through its relentless processes of erosion and deposition, first concealed and then by a twist of fate and the slow grind of millennia, chose to reveal. This dynamic interplay between human tragedy and geological forces offers a humbling perspective on our place in the universe. It reminds us that while we strive for control and understanding, there remain vast, powerful elements that operate on scales far beyond our immediate comprehension or influence. The canyon, in its stoic grandeur, teaches us that time does not simply heal. It also preserves, buries, and eventually, with an almost poetic serendipity, unveils. Such a discovery also rekindles the potent flame of collective memory, proving that some stories, even when relegated to the fringes of public consciousness, never truly fade. The unresolved questions act as invisible threads, binding communities to a past event, ensuring that the lost are never entirely forgotten. This inherent human drive to understand, to piece together fragmented narratives, speaks to our fundamental need for meaning and continuity. It's a testament to the power of curiosity, a persistent, quiet force that compels us to keep searching, whether through physical excavation or through the intellectual exploration of lingering enigmas. Every fragment unearthed, every piece of the puzzle recovered, reaffirms the value of persistent inquiry, demonstrating that sometimes the most profound answers are simply waiting for the right moment and the right eyes to be found. Furthermore, these unearthed tragedies serve as poignant reminders of life's inherent fragility and the unpredictable currents of existence. They compel us to reflect on the delicate balance between our carefully constructed routines and the sudden, often brutal caprices of the natural world. This experience, though rooted in a specific incident, resonates with a broader understanding of human vulnerability, urging us to cherish the present and acknowledge the transient nature of our plans. It underscores the profound respect due to environments of such immense power and scale, fostering a deeper appreciation for the wild places that, even as they inspire awe, can also demand a sobering recognition of their untamed authority. These are not merely tales of loss, but powerful lessons in humility and the enduring strength required to navigate a world both beautiful and perilous. The journey towards understanding, even after such a significant breakthrough, rarely finds a definitive endpoint. Instead, it often transforms into a continuous process of learning, where each new piece of information reshapes our perception of the past. The discovery of the bus isn't merely a conclusion, it's a new beginning for inquiry, sparking fresh questions about safety, environmental dynamics, and the ethical responsibilities associated with revisiting profound historical traumas. It challenges us to refine our methodologies, to push the boundaries of forensic science, and to continually re-evaluate our relationship with the natural world and the mysteries it holds. This ongoing dialogue between humanity and its environment is crucial, shaping not only how we respond to future challenges, but also how we honor the legacies of those lost. ensuring their stories continue to inform and inspire. Ultimately, this chilling revelation leaves us with a lingering contemplation. Even when the physical evidence is brought to light, the profound why of existence of such sudden and absolute loss often remains elusive. Yet, in the face of such enduring questions, the human spirit demonstrates an extraordinary capacity for remembrance, for empathy, and for an unwavering commitment to truth. The Grand Canyon, having held its breath for so long, now exhales a story that is both heartbreakingly specific and universally resonant, reminding us that some mysteries are not meant to be fully solved, but rather to be deeply felt, prompting a continuous reflection on our place within the vast, awe-inspiring, and sometimes terrifying tapestry of life. Reflecting on this journey so far, from the initial shock of an inexplicable disappearance to the painstaking, decades-long silence, and finally to the astonishing re-emergence from the Earth's deep embrace, we begin to perceive a tapestry woven with threads of human resilience and nature's immutable power. It is a narrative that transcends the mere facts of a lost vehicle and its occupants, delving into the very essence of what it means to confront the unknown, to grapple with an absence that defies explanation, and to persist in the quiet hope for resolution. The Grand Canyon, in its majestic indifference, has acted as a silent, formidable archivist, its geological processes simultaneously concealing and, in time, reluctantly revealing. This interplay between the vast scale of the natural world and the intimate tragedy of human lives underscores a profound lesson about our place within forces far grander than ourselves. The relentless human drive to understand, to piece together the fractured mosaic of truth becomes palpably evident in this unfolding drama. We have traversed the arc from an era of limited technological reach, where research could only scratch the surface of such immensity, to a present day where advanced scientific tools can pierce through layers of sediment and time. Yet, even with these formidable capabilities, the path to clarity is not a straight line. It is fraught with complexities inherent in distinguishing initial trauma from the slow, corrosive work of decades. This relentless pursuit of answers, despite the immense challenges and the often agonizing nature of the revelations, speaks to an intrinsic human need for closure, for the definitive contours of what was, rather than the boundless expanse of what might have been. The very act of unearthing, therefore, becomes a harrowing form of liberation, a reluctant acceptance of a reality long denied by its very elusiveness. What emerges from these converging insights is a nuanced understanding of loss itself, not as a singular event, but as a continuous, evolving process. The initial shock gives way to a prolonged, ambiguous grief, which then transforms once more with the advent of tangible evidence. This shift forces a re-engagement with the past, compelling communities and families to navigate a new landscape of sorrow, one where abstract pain takes on concrete, often devastating forms. It's a powerful testament to how collective memory, even when dormant, retains its latent energy, ready to reassert its claim on the present when stirred by a new discovery. The ripple effects extend beyond the immediate tragedy, influencing broader societal dialogues about safety, the ethics of investigation, and the delicate balance between public curiosity and private anguish. As we draw these profound strands together, we recognize that the story of the bus is not merely an isolated incident. It is a microcosm of the enduring human struggle against the unpredictable currents of existence. It highlights the persistent tension between our desire for control and the untamed power of the environments we inhabit. The Grand Canyon, in its stoic grandeur, teaches us that time does not simply heal, it also preserves, buries, and eventually, with an almost poetic serendipity, unveils. This intricate dance between concealment and revelation offers a humbling perspective, reminding us that even the most sophisticated technologies and the most fervent desires for closure must ultimately contend with the Earth's own ancient rhythms and its capacity to yield its secrets on its own terms. The journey toward understanding, therefore, rarely finds a definitive endpoint. Instead, it often transforms into a continuous process of learning, where each new piece of information reshapes our perception of the past and opens new avenues for inquiry. The discovery of the bus isn't merely a conclusion, it's a new beginning for reflection, sparking fresh questions about the interplay of human endeavor and geological forces, and the profound responsibilities associated with revisiting historical traumas. This ongoing dialogue between humanity and its environment is crucial, shaping not only how we respond to future challenges, but also how we honor the legacies of those lost, ensuring their stories continue to inform and inspire. The silence of 32 years has been broken, and the echoes that now emerge carry with them not just answers, but a deeper, more complex understanding of our place within a world both beautiful and profoundly mysterious. The re-emergence of that yellow school bus from its decades-long interment in the Grand Canyon is far more than the resolution of a singular, horrifying mystery. It is a profound testament to the intricate, often agonizing dance between human memory and the indifferent majesty of the natural world. For 32 years, the chasm held its breath, a silent witness to a national heartbreak, its vastness not merely a landscape, but an active participant in a narrative of profound absence. The canyon, in its ancient geological rhythms, became a keeper of secrets, a dynamic tomb that first consumed, and then, through its own inexorable processes of erosion and shift, chose to reluctantly yield its devastating truth. This interaction forces us to acknowledge our inherent smallness against such monumental forces, reminding us that even our most meticulously constructed realities can be swallowed whole by the Earth, only to resurface on its own unpredictable timeline. This chilling discovery fundamentally reshapes our understanding of closure itself. For families who endured an ambiguous loss, suspended in a cruel limbo where grief could neither fully form nor wholly dissipate, the tangible wreckage offers a new, brutal certainty. Yet this is not an end to sorrow, but a transformation of it. The abstract void is replaced by concrete, horrifying images, initiating a new, intensely personal journey through remembrance. It underscores that healing is rarely a linear path. Sometimes the very answers we crave only deepen the emotional landscape, forcing us to confront the stark realities that time had mercifully softened into abstraction. The human spirit, in its relentless quest for truth, often finds that the truth, when finally unveiled, demands an even greater depth of resilience. Moreover, this saga serves as a powerful illustration of the enduring, almost primal human need to understand, to piece together the fractured mosaic of our past. It speaks to an unwavering curiosity that transcends generations, a refusal to let the unknown remain perpetually veiled. The painstaking efforts of forensic science, geology, and accident reconstruction, working against the corrosive march of time, embody this persistent pursuit. Every twisted piece of metal, every degraded artifact, every fragment of bone becomes a silent, potent witness, demanding to be heard, to contribute its part to a story long silenced. This relentless drive for clarity is not merely about facts. It is about honoring lives, about giving voice to those who vanished, and about reaffirming our collective commitment to remembering even when memory is painful. The Grand Canyon, in this context, transcends its role as a natural wonder to become a profound teacher. It instructs us in humility, in the limits of our dominion, and in the sheer, unpredictable power of the earth. It reveals that some mysteries are not solved by human ingenuity alone, but by a serendipitous alignment of natural forces and persistent observation. This insight compels us to maintain a deep respect for the wild places that cradle our planet, recognizing that their beauty is often intertwined with an untamed ferocity capable of both breathtaking creation and devastating consumption. The re-emergence of the bus is a stark, poignant reminder that even in our technologically advanced age, there remain powerful forces that operate on scales beyond our immediate control, shaping narratives in ways we can neither anticipate nor entirely comprehend. Ultimately, the story of the vanished bus and its chilling return is a profound meditation on time, loss, and the unyielding human spirit. It is a narrative that will resonate far beyond the immediate families, weaving itself into the fabric of our collective consciousness, a modern cautionary tale etched into the ancient stone of the canyon. It encourages us to cultivate a deeper empathy for those grappling with unresolved grief, to champion the ongoing pursuit of knowledge, and to embrace the often uncomfortable truths that emerge from the depths of history. The true practice begins now, not in the search for the bus, but in the ongoing reflection of what its discovery truly means for how we remember, how we understand the world around us, and how we continue to navigate the profound, often beautiful, and sometimes terrifying mysteries that define our shared human experience.